Many years ago, a community of men formed, calling themselves pickup artists. Say this line to her, play this game with her, begin to physically escalate at this point. It empowered men to take control of their own dating lives.
Much later.
This dating market is f***ed up. At its core, the whole thing is fucked.
Andy?
You already know if I'm going to take it?
Wouldn't be much of an oracle if I didn't.
But if you already know, how can I make a choice?
Because you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it. You're here to try to understand why you made it.
Welcome, my friends. My name is Antione Phoenix, and this is my RP experience. Peace and love to all my brothers and sisters out there. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, so that other people will know about this video. The more interaction I get, the more that it will be put out into the algorithm. This is a little different of what I usually say, so that's why I guess I stumbled a little bit across my words. Today's video is a real treat because a dating coach, Alexander Grace, and there's another dating coach that I'm going to throw on before we talk about him. But I saw his videos and I thought his videos was helpful, as most, he's somewhat of a pickup artist, but dating coaches, their advice is helpful, but they are always leaving a certain part out of the conversation. And in this conversation about relationships, this is why I drifted on to that manosphere area, because I was just getting one part of the story, of the information of what I should be doing, how I should talk, how I should stand, how confident I should be, what should I have, what car I should be driving, all this type of stuff that I have to be the complete man. And the woman, especially these days, she can just will out any way that she wants. She can be overweight, her hair can be blue. Look, everybody can do what they want to do. And not to say that there are some women that cannot rock blue hair, or some of those, or be a little overweight and still be sexy. But the thing is, it seems like men have to be all this stuff and women just have to show up as they are. That may used to work 10, 15, 20 years ago. Not today. Not with the information that we have now. And I know I was ahead of the curve, because for me, a woman has to be someone I'm attracted to. She doesn't have to be a 10 or a beauty model, but she has to be somebody that I'm like, yes, I want to kiss her. I want to lay down with her. I have to get that kind of reaction from her. But on the other side, and this is where I might differ a little bit from some men, that I will invest in a woman that's not the finest woman, but her personality has got to be intact. She doesn't have to be Mother Teresa or the most nicest woman, but she has to have some kindness to her, some empathy, sympathy with her. She has to be able to understand the man's side, especially in a relationship. Now, not too overboard, because obviously you'll run into those dudes that will use you, but that's where you have to be a little discerning and be able to filter through the bad dudes the same way I have to filter through the bad women. But when the good women and the bad women both look the same, they both show up any kind of way, and only way I can get maybe the best of her is if I manage to get a spike of emotion that I am one of the few men that come into her life and she get emotional high off. If I do not hit that chord with her, then she's going to treat me any kind of way. And even if I do hit that chord, because I know I had that in my longest relationship, especially at the beginning. Well, not at the beginning, because at the beginning she was deciding between me and somebody else. But once she settled on me, I did see that ride or die energy, even when she was making mistakes. And that's why I let certain things go, because I knew underneath some of the mistakes and some of her trying to act badass sometimes, she had a kind heart under that. She just didn't want to get hurt. But after a certain point, though, I think those feelings faded, and then the disrespect came in. And if she was acting the way that she was acting when we first met, it would not have got that far. That's why I first started dating out of my race, because I kept getting too much attitude and too much resistance when I would approach the women that I was approaching. And some men, they like that. They like that challenge. Maybe their mom was like that. Maybe that's what they got used to. But not all of us like the same thing. So if a woman doesn't have warm insides, or at least fake it, and I'd rather she not fake it, be your authentic self. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be more of the cuddly wuddly than the spiky porcupine, in so many words. So, the first dating coach, that was catching some L's because of what she was getting in her comment section. Let's get to her. I do not know this lady's name.
Remove sex from a relationship and 90% of women have nothing to offer. Remove money and 90% of women will disappear. Honestly, he nailed it. Women today are useless. Ran through, materialistic, and draining your wallet. You'd be better off flying to Thailand and becoming a passport bro, because Western women, not worth it. Got your attention? Exactly. I am so tired of seeing posts like this that are strategically phrased to incite anger amongst all of you. I've watched my male following go from excited and eager about dating to completely turned off by it, thanks to the toxic, addictive mindset that all women suck. Look, I get it. Some women suck. And I hear your frustrations about the norms we are trying to reverse. But I also know that there are amazing women who want masculine men and share your values. Posts like this are meant to fuel your rage and keep you hooked on an endless dopamine hit of validating your self-pity. I know the game. And if I wanted to, I could grow my following in a heartbeat by playing into it. But I'm not going to. I've watched my following shrink over the past year because I refuse to feed you hopelessness. Remove sex from a relationship and 90% of women have nothing to offer.
That's her name. Billy Ray Brandt. That's her name. I don't know. I've seen a lot of her videos, but I did not know what that lady's name was. Now, what she's saying in there is true, but she has some other videos where she's pointing out, like all dating coaches do, all pickup artists do, what men could do better, how men can maneuver and be the man that the woman wants. And you know what? I'm just going to show you, not tell you.
If you're the nice guy that keeps watching the girl you like get attached to toxic men, you might want to listen up. Today, we're talking about why women love toxic men. Whew, I'm gonna need it. Now, the obvious is that we want to change them. Think of that one thing you were never able to achieve in life. And remember how it felt so good when you finally succeeded? That's why. We want the experience of successfully attaining that thing we couldn't get. When something isn't easy to get, we want it more. Next, usually we feel bad for them. It's not so easy to leave them when we become so invested in their story. Usually this story involves some level of loneliness, and we feel like if we leave them, even though they'll run straight to the next girl, at the end of the day, they'll wind up alone. And the thought of that makes us feel guilty. We like the intensity. Healthy relationships don't have those same intense feelings of toxic relationships. There's no peaks and valleys. It's pretty stable. Although there are low lows in a toxic relationship, the dopamine during those highs becomes addicting. We don't feel like we can get anyone else. Usually that feeling becomes more prevalent the longer you're with a toxic guy. You can't imagine yourself starting over. And the thought of being alone is really scary. And that person has convinced us that they're great. And we believe it. Although it's frustrating to watch people you care about winds up in this cycle, if you're a non-toxic guy watching this, there's hope. This cycle doesn't last forever, and I'm an example of that. You eventually hit an exhaustion point of no return. And although there's a lot of healing to be done after the fact, the good guy always wins.
That video right there. There's also another one saying that women don't like nice guys. Which, look, I understand. I've been hearing that rhetoric for the last few years. And as I say, there are two different types of nice guys. There's the ones that's searching for validation, faking like they're nice. That's not really them. And then there's the authentic, kind-hearted dude. That's how he's built. So he has to pretend he's something else in order to get the attention of the woman. Or wait on the sidelines, as you said, for her to hit an exhaustion point and then pick him later. I'm not taking that deal. Now, I was fortunate. I met the woman that I was doing pick kind of early. And that's why in our case, the one that I married, it was a weird dynamic because I can't really say she was the bad girl, but she did pick me, the safe guy, but not the stupid guy. Meaning, like, if she's going to play games, I'm going to play games. But she always surrounded herself with hood type dudes. So similar like the guy that she had a crush on. So it's kind of like I'm confused of, is that who she really wants to be with? Or did she just put me there as she knew I would be safe, but she could also maybe experiment with those guys if she and I don't work out? I'm not sure, and I'm pretty sure she would not tell me. Anyway, getting back to the particular thing that this woman was saying. Forgot her name again, but I said it earlier. Some of her advice is good. Not all. Look, I know some decent women. I know some women that are in some decent relationships from what I can see from the outside. And they're not doing stuff like putting their business on social media. I also know those types of women. And I also know those women that did their men dirty. And I know the men that did their women dirty as well. So I know both dirt on both sides. However, when women keep saying it's some bad, no, it's a lot of bad women out there. A lot of bad women. Or, okay, it's a lot of bad women that would be available to you. Because when you're going out there trying to find a woman, and women will never understand this until they get older, they start hitting the wall, they start having issues with their selection of men around them. Men discover this early, unless if they are Chad or Tyrone or really attractive and getting lots of loads of women attention. Otherwise, you will see the women that are nice going for the bad dudes. You see the fake nice girls that might mess with you, but yet they'll still be messing with other guys. Me, I would seem to attract either the bad girl or the bitchy girl. I have to do a video on this. And this is why sometimes I think I would pick the bad girl or the nice, not the nice girl, the bitchy girl. Because that girl, at least, I would say, and when I say bitchy, meaning she would be bitchy to other people, but she would be nice to me. But eventually, once those feelings fade, that energy will eventually turn on me as well. But I guess her not being in other men's faces as much, or even if there are other men around her, she's like aggressive and not really flirtatious with them. Because I would say my ex-wife was like that. Like, she was around other guys, but she wasn't super flirtatious, not in front of me. Anyway, but still, just the fact that the guys was there would sometimes would make me wonder, especially with the type of dudes. But unless if you want to be that guy that's waiting for the woman, and that's why, now, which I'm older now, and women that I knew from high school or earlier in life that I knew gave me no time of day or didn't really pay no attention to me, I'm not going to pick them now. And that's another thing too, when we get into the age stuff. If the woman is older, like around my age, she has to be healthy, in shape, and try to keep herself up. I'm not the best looking guy, but I know a lot of people would think I'm younger than what I am because I am into fitness, trying to eat well, drinking water, don't do drugs. Can I even say that? Either way, I don't do that type of stuff. So I need a woman along those lines. And if it's a woman that likes to get high and likes to do that type of stuff on a high clip, and I'm not talking about like drinking once in a while, that's fine, but any excessive thing, that's not going to work. So anyway, if you happen to see this from the content that you put out there, I understand in a way you're trying to help the guys out, but you send them mixed signals, and men don't feel like playing. Guys like me is not playing that type of game no more. Either the women come correct, or we definitely going overseas, or we going to other women that they're here to screw on tight. We not playing games with y'all no more. That's over and done. Now, Alexander Grace has had epiphany, and let's get to that video.
If you're a male and you're like, what the hell, there's no good females out there to date, these are all trash options, what do I do? I was talking to my boyfriend the other day and he was telling me that he had such a hard time finding a girlfriend before he met me, and this is why. Tell me if you agree. So he would walk up to a lot of different females. That's basically what he did to me. That's how he found me, okay? And when he walked up to these females, he would say, hi, just like that, and want to start a conversation. He said so many people would just look him in the eyes and either just walk away, like straight up, look at him and just leave, or they would give him like the biggest resting bitch face and then be such a bitch to him that it's like, why would you even want to have a conversation? It's like you're talking to a wall or someone that like wants to stab you in the face.
Yep. And men are sick of it. You can only put up with being treated like you are subhuman for so long before you are just done. You quit, and that is what men are doing en masse.
Statistics show that 48 to 59% of single men between the ages of 18 and 40 have never asked a woman out on a date in the past year.
So I actually want to start out this video with an apology from me to my audience, because there is something that I have consistently gotten wrong over the years. I feel shitty about it, and I want to admit to you guys when I make a mistake, own up to it, say that I'm sorry, and I really mean this. I have rationalized and excused women's rudeness when men approach them for far too long. I focused on the man, I focused on game, and how men can overcome that resistance instead of analyzing that resistance itself and holding women accountable. Let me explain to you why I made this mistake. Understand, I came of age in the 2000s, and so I have never known what it's like to live in a culture where women do show respect for men. Whenever I saw a man approach a woman to try and talk with her, I routinely saw women laugh, ignore him, insult him, or just spend the interaction being rude to the man as a way of shit testing him. I thought that that was normal. I didn't really understand how truly fucked up that behavior was because it's all I had grown up seeing. Like a fish doesn't really know what water is because he's spent his entire life just swimming in it. I thought that shit tests and rude behavior were normal and that it was perfectly natural for women to treat men badly.
Correction. Most of the time, when women are acting like that, they really don't have no interest in you. Now, back in the 90s, probably the 80s, 70s, 50s, a man could just persevere and keep nagging a woman until eventually she'll give him a chance because her other prospects are drying up. But, and also sometimes is the thing that you catch a woman at the wrong time. Maybe she's having a bad day at work. Someone has passed away. She just broke up. Some guy just violated her or did something like touched her butt or something. Understand. Because I know women, I do understand the things that they deal with. Well, the ones that I know, I understand, especially because I know a lot of performer types. And I know how inappropriate men can be by saying things, getting touchy-grabby, that type of stuff there. And that can make a woman a little bit with her walls up more. So, that's why sometimes if I'm dealing with a woman that's very attractive, very beautiful, and I'm observant, and usually a woman that I don't know at all that's very attractive, I probably would definitely not approach them. But if I know them and can observe and see like their guys constantly hitting on them, one or two things. I may not even bother to do that because I see the guys that she's rejecting and I may feel like I'm less than them, or either I may feel like she's overloaded and tapped out. And that's another thing too. Imagine if you are a guy and people are constantly asking you for change as you are walking to the store. Even me, and I'm usually a warm, kind person. But when I'm getting bombarded by people, can I have $1? Can I have this? Even if they're not about to ask me for money, but they're about to ask me something, I might be like, okay, no, I'm just trying to go to the store. So sometimes I understand when a woman is a little snappy. But when they are in groups, and also I understand it's a safety thing. So I would never try to talk to a woman in a dark parking lot, especially being my skin tone, because she may think it's something. But if she's with her friends, and she should feel safe with her friends, and it's a group setting, like you're at an amusement park or something, and you try talking to her, and she doesn't even look at you, or she laughs, or she acts dismissive, then that's a totally different thing. So it does depend on the circumstances of when you are approaching the woman. But either way, just because I know if I'm a Chatter Tyrone, I'm very attractive, I look like I have a lot of money, I have a good career, she knows that I have high status, then I will not have to jump through hoops. I will not have to go through all that right there. She will be on her best behavior when dealing with me. And that is definitely now of how I deal with women. If they're acting with an attitude or acting like they don't want to be bothered, I'm not going to keep trying to talk to them. Okay, one and done. I'm done. Okay, now it's your turn to maybe talk to me, which, however, though, you're probably not going to do, but I'm saying I'm not going to keep hitting my head against the wall. So anyway, let him continue.
To say rude things to him just to test him out to see if he's confident enough to push through that resistance. In fact, one of the first videos that I ever released on this channel back in 2017 was me at the beach going up to women and asking them about this phenomenon of shit tests.
Have you ever given a man a shit test before?
Probably. every time. I think I give men shit tests every day of my life.
See, I knew that this was real. I saw how rude women were when I was younger, but I never stopped to ask the big questions like, is it okay to treat men like this? Why do women feel so entitled to be so righteously rude and dismissive? I was young, I was horny, and my mind just didn't think in terms of those big questions yet. I wasn't philosophical, I was just practical. Women are rude when you try and talk to them. Okay, that seems to be just a fact of reality. My only thought was, well, how do I overcome that? Like, if this is a game, what do I need to do to win? I was very ambitious, and when I discovered the seduction community with like pickup artist techniques, learning about game with detailed instructions on how to pass shit tests, frame control, teasing, flirting, I thought, great, okay, that's what you do. So I learned it, I applied it, I got very good at it, and my dating life took off. But I can see now that that's actually been my blind spot, and that's the reason why I'm apologizing. Because I couldn't see past my own experience. My focus had been exclusively on how to pass shit tests. My focus was not on whether or not this behavior from women was actually appropriate. Now, longtime subscribers of this channel know that this issue has come up lots of times before, probably in 4 or 5 different videos. You guys have roasted me in the comment section, which I deserved, but even getting that feedback, I couldn't see it. I didn't understand why men were frustrated with me. Like, I was sincerely trying to help. I was explaining the psychology of why women are rude to men, the evolutionary basis, what purpose they're serving, what they're looking for in men. And then I was giving instructions on how to successfully move past that rudeness. But then there'd be a bunch of guys in the comments saying, why should I have to put up with this in the first place? Why is it okay for women to be rude to me? But I just kept focusing on the practical. And sadly, all of my explanations for female behavior, it just sounded like justifications, excuses for women's disrespect. All of my advice on how to overcome this, it had the effect of making men feel like I was just ignoring how outright unpleasant this is to deal with. Placing the responsibility on men once again to do the work. Doesn't matter how rude women are, how ridiculous their standards, how entitled their personalities. Men, it's on you to find a way, to suck it up, to figure it out.
Guys, can you ask us out in person? No more DMs, none of that. Girls love to get asked out in person. It doesn't happen anymore. Please come up to us. We're nice. The worst we're gonna say is no.
A few moments later.
Like, a lot of world problems would be solved if men just, like,
Cease to exist?
yeah.
I know that some of my past videos on this topic have really pissed off some guys. All I can say is that I was sincere, and I'm sorry, I did not see it. That's how it is with bias and with blind spots. You don't know what you don't know. But let me tell you now that I can see it. I see it very clearly. This dating market is fucked up. At its core, the whole thing is fucked. We have allowed our culture to degenerate to the point where women feel like it is okay to treat men with disrespect, to be rude, to be insulting. A kind, polite man says hello to you, he's being friendly. It's fine to just ignore him or just be bitchy for the entire conversation. No manners, no etiquette, no respect, no affirming of his right to dignity. That's fucked up. It shouldn't be this way, and it doesn't have to be.
Apology accepted, my brother. To the women watching this, and the men that still don't understand. Look, I'm not saying that men don't have responsibilities in dating, parenting, fatherhood. It is part of our fault because we let women get out of control with the delusion, pretty much, in most cases. And I know I definitely did it in my relationship, especially my longest term one. I just let her get away with highway murder. Now, I did buck. I did get her back on some stuff, but some of the core things that I let go, it didn't get better. It actually got worse. And she actually was acting out of control until I had a YouTube channel. Until I had a YouTube channel. And I was voicing these things that I was keeping inside, or I would not be able to have a conversation with her because she just would shut it down. But see, when I do videos, I try to show examples. I try to show examples how the women are fucking up. because y'all are fucking up a lot. And that Disney fairy tale thing that I used to have, especially with white women, because when I would see movies of the woman that would stick by their man and would really hold their man down and go through the ringer with him, it was always white women or foreign women. And only because I was not getting that type of kindness and warmth from the black women when I was growing up. And of course they would say, well, get over that. You was younger then. Look, okay, whenever somebody says something like that, well, that goes with anything. Could have been like slavery. Well, we should just get over that. Okay, things that people go through in their life, because we only have a limited time here. You either repeat the same mistakes, you learn from them, and you grow. And I never want to be somewhere I'm not wanted. So because those women was not picking me, or the ones that was totally not treat me right out the gate. I'll say with the white women that I was with, they always treat me good at the front end. At the front end, or better than what I was getting treated with the others. But pretty soon, because of the friends, the people that they was around, or maybe I misjudged their character in the first place, pretty soon they start acting just like the other women. And once again, it probably was my fault because I was a little too accommodating and too like, okay, I'm trying to keep the peace here, and that just didn't work. But getting back to what he said, exactly what he's saying. He was saying of how he now understands the plight of what men was going through. And that's the thing with the other lady, because she's not a man, she doesn't understand. She just wants men to pretty much go through the barbed wire and just deal with it. Just like black women would say to black men that don't fit what a lot of black women pick. Want us to just take the disrespect. Just man up. Just be a real end and just deal with that shit. No.
Yes, you can look smacks like crazy. You can learn game. You can become the perfect seduction guy who knows every little trick. Perfect frame control, the ability to successfully navigate through all her blockades. And then maybe you might be lucky enough to find your way into a conversation where she is being friendly to you. But that is a ridiculous standard to hold men to. Why isn't being kind enough? Why isn't being friendly and respectful enough? I can imagine an alternative timeline where boys and girls were all raised in healthy families. We live in close communities and everybody has positive self-esteem, where once you become a man, if you approach a woman at an event, have a conversation with her, maybe ask her to dance, even if it does not work out between the two of you, there is no attraction. At all times, the woman is kind and friendly to you. She does not start off from a baseline hatred of men, distrust, suspicion. She takes no pleasure in rejecting men. In this alternative timeline, all women are polite, kind, respectful, friendly. Women value men and men value women. Men do not view women just as a means to have sex. Hookup culture is not a thing. Dating is much more straightforward because the purpose is clear. The goal is for everybody to partner up. Dating is not for people to get ego boosts. It's not for distracting people from their boredom. Dating is not used for free dinners or to masturbate using another person's body. In this timeline, dating is simple, uncomplicated, wholesome. Men don't need to put on an act. They can be themselves. They can be nice to women and feel confident that women are not going to interpret that niceness as weakness. Men can relax knowing that women in this timeline do not take pleasure in humiliating men.
I know there's a saying that it's a numbers game, but there's also a saying that says stay in your lane. And I just feel like some of the creatures that come up to me with the confidence they have, a man really came up to me at the gas station and said, "You caught my eye. How about we close him? Keep him sealed tight. Shut, actually. Because I'm here to fill up my gas."
Dating should not be like this. It just shouldn't. How things are right now, how men are treated by women, it's fucked up. There are a bunch of guys out there who are struggling, and it's not their fault. The game was massively rigged against them. And for so long, I could not see it because when it came to the topic of shit tests and women being rude to men, I was too busy focused on how to overcome that, thinking of practical strategies to beat the game. And I forgot to stop and take notice of just how fucked up the game is that we are all playing.
Toxic or boring relationship?
Toxic.
Toxic. Oh, toxic, definitely. It just makes it more fun.
Just makes it more fun. It's more fun.
In this culture, we have women consciously choosing to be with bad men, which of course has the predictable consequence after you are treated badly of turning you bitter. Then, when a regular, nice man approaches them, from that bitterness, they feel entitled to be rude and suspicious. That situation is fucking ridiculous. And yes, I put the blame on women. Ladies, nobody is forcing you to date toxic men. Your bitter attitude is your own fault. Now you might say, well, that's unfair. What about the toxic man? What about his responsibility? If he didn't treat her badly, then none of this would be a problem. No, you still don't get it. If he didn't treat her badly, then she wouldn't be interested. These women are specifically attracted to toxic men. That's the point. I know from my own life, during my teenage years, I was my authentic, nice guy self, and I had moderate success. But when I learned game and I started teasing women, not texting back, seeing multiple girls at the same time, leaning into my cockiness, guess what? When I did that, my options exploded. My guess is that for all of the genuine bad boys out there, there's just as many men who would have been nice guys if they had been sexually rewarded for doing so. But they listened to women's actions, not their words. And you can hardly blame them. Why should any man be single and lonely, martyrs to the nice guy cause? Nope. Men are always going to act the way that women find sexually desirable. Toxic men, bad boys, women, do not complain about them. They are your own creation. For every woman out there who is rude to nice men while sexually rewarding bad boy jerks, this is your fault. You need to fix this. And once again, I am so sorry for my earlier videos which had the indirect effect of shaming men, telling them that it's their responsibility to do this or that, to try and overcome all of this rudeness from women. I was trapped by the limitation of my own experiences. I can see that now. But it's obvious to me now that the expectation that men have some kind of obligation to overcome these ridiculous hurdles is in and of itself sexist. That women are allowed and encouraged to display this kind of behavior towards men is sexist. It is not your fault that you were born a man and into a culture that devalues and dehumanizes you to this degree. And I don't think that you should feel ashamed of yourself because you don't have the stomach to tolerate this kind of disrespect. I used to think that men who did not learn game or seduction techniques were cowards. And maybe that's true in some cases. But now I see it more like maybe those guys have some self-esteem. They respect themselves too much to participate in such a degrading activity, having to pass shit tests. As you can see, my thoughts are always evolving. I've been thinking about this a lot, and the fact that those old videos are still sitting there, that really bothers me. They don't really reflect my current thoughts, and so I wanted to do like a type of update. So what about your old videos, Alexander? The ones where you give instructions on how to pass shit tests. How do you feel about them now? Well, the information is still good if that's your goal, if you want to learn how to overcome these things. I still think it's worth understanding female psychology and probably worth having the techniques to be able to get past that resistance. So I'm going to keep the videos there because I still think that the information is valuable. It was just incomplete. And so what is the balance between valuing yourself and understanding the truth about the culture we live in and practically making some sacrifices, swallowing your pride a little bit so that you can learn to play the game, suffer a bit of short-term humiliation for a long-term benefit? I want to discuss how to balance these two things in the rest of this video, which is going to be available on Patreon.
And that's all, folks. He's going to put, I guess, his shore up thing of combining the pickup with the manosphere, red pill knowledge. And I do think it's important to get all sides of the story. That way you can move accordingly. A strategy that has always worked for me, especially the last couple of years, is adjusting to the woman. The only thing that I will, and I'll expand on that in just a minute. But the only thing that I will say with the pickup community that I do think is important is getting men, because men traditionally has to make the first move. So getting that confidence, getting the thing that you may get rejected, not brutally rejected, not humiliated, not that particular thing, but how you can handle a no. It's similar, like, well, not filling out for a job, but if you was in the acting audition thing, okay, a lot of times people will reject you in a nice way, be like, okay, we'll be in touch, or you get the feeling that they're not really going to call you back. But they don't humiliate you. They don't say, get out of here or you suck. Now, I'm pretty sure there are some auditions that may go that particular way, but the few that I went on, they was pretty nice with rejecting you. So, I don't think it's wrong with the man taking the first step, but dealing with humiliation, dealing with games that the woman may play. And once again, the woman will only play this to a man that she's not really that interested in. And only maybe by hanging around, sticking, and this could take weeks, months, years before you get into position to get her. And it may be a one-shot thing. I remember with some women that I had an opportunity, but maybe I had work or something, and then that opportunity never arose again because of circumstance. So I always think if you are more her type, she'll pick you. And that's why this space is definitely on the body type thing. I mean, I understand if the woman has, like that one woman that decided to sleep with 100 men in a week or something. I think it was. I'm probably going to have to touch that video once, because I know I did a video that a woman slept with 300 men in a year, but it's one that she pushed the limits to her body within a month. Now, of course, though, she did something like that, no. But if she is conditioned to go for a certain type of guy, like I know women when I was growing up, they like the thug type of guys. That was their type. Now, they might grow out of that type later when they get to that later age, after a couple kids or two. Do you want to take that? No. Since I know a lot of women do that now, and somehow I had a blind spot with that, I thought maybe they didn't know, or they're so innocent, or they was finding themselves, or maybe they was finding themselves. But when she turns around and then wants that guy that she didn't want before, and of course, it's always that thing that a person can change. Like, they could be a real party person, and then they mature and they wake up and they don't like doing that no more. Now, if that person has totally stopped that particular part of their life, that they don't do any of that stuff no more, and they read books and they go to church, and it's not just an act or something, then yes, a person could authentically change, and maybe if you want, you can give them a chance. But if they made too many bad choices, and especially with me, especially if they have a bunch of kids, they're real old, they let themselves really go, and now they want to pick me after before they could not give me the time of day, no. And I'm not one of those guys of saying like, oh, you should choose me because I'm not. Look, choose what you like. Just don't come for me later, because I want a woman to initially want me, and I've had that before. So since I had it before, pretty much when I was in other countries, and that's why I'm thinking, especially if you're like a good guy, a decent guy or something, done playing these games with a lot of these women here. As I said before, I know some decent women, but they are all taken. And I'm pretty sure there's some decent ones that are single, but they wasn't interested in me then. So in a way now, especially with the way my life is starting to go in this trajectory, I don't want them to be interested in me now. Okay, because I'm a different person than what I was then. The stuff that would have worked before, the things I would have let go before, it definitely would not now. It's like the woman that would come into my life will have to be on her P's and Q's, and I definitely would not have no doubt that she wants to be and is choosing me. Now, by adjusting, which I said earlier, I just mean this. However the woman is acting is how I'm just going to treat her. If she's acting like a hoe, a 304, and I've come across these women that they give me that energy that they are interested, and then they are gone or they disappear. They seem like they don't really want a relationship. Not with me anyway. Maybe because the person they really want to be with is stringing them along. But they have me kind of as a backup. Now, at least in this case, being a backup, I'm at least getting some fun, some physical fun. But do I want to be a person's second or last choice? Because what if that person comes back? Because a lot of people are like that. They don't want you, but then when they see you with somebody else, then they want you. And if you still have feelings for them, you may just go that way. So that's just my thing with dealing with the women in the U.S. Now, of course, if I happen to come across the right one, I'll do her right. But I keep coming across ones that seem to want me to do them wrong. And not necessarily that I do them wrong. I just, like, okay, you want to go? Okay, I'm not going to try to tie you down. I'm not going to be blowing up your phone. I'm not going to be chasing you if that's what you want me to do. Okay? I just want to get in a better position where I can pick from a better pool of women. Both looks-wise, personality-wise, integrity-wise, and while I did say I've had women straight choose me here, they was never my nationality. There was always another nationality, and it did happen here as well. But the time that happened here, they always was from somewhere else. So that's the thing too. So give me a like and subscribe. Have a good day or a good night whenever you see this video. And this is why I never really pay dating coaches, especially pickup artists, too much mind. I did in the beginning when I was struggling to talk to women. But after I started thinking about it and thinking, why should I put myself through that particular thing? Because that's actually making my self-worth go down. Maybe my confidence, or it's not even confidence, maybe my ability to take harsh treatment is high because I'm not feeling it as much. But on the other hand, I feel low inside, like, why is I'm picking up with this stuff? Why is I'm trying to go after women that obviously don't want me? And that's what it all boils down to, really. If the women don't want me, then I don't want them. And there's plenty of women that I can come across that will want me if I get out there and explore. So, that's it.
Young and in love. Kiss my ass, guys. You're not a couple?
No.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? And you known her since you were 27? Hey guys, do any men in here remember being 27 and being like, you know what I need? Female friends. hey, you know what I can use? A bitch to hang out with. He loves you. Stop doing that.
We don't. It's not.
I swear. You swear, he don't. Who bought the tickets? Answer this question. Who bought the tickets? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah. This motherfucker paid for VIP and you ain't giving him nothing? I'm so sick on his behalf. I've had enough of the lies. If you pay for her bill, you're kicked out of the show. I'm telling you that right now. Move it.
As a reference for somebody who's like pretending to be old.
Hey, you pay the fuck. He bought the tickets, you pay the whole ass bill. Why are you making shit? Young and in love. Kiss my ass, guys.